And as always, we will fill for a minute with nonsense for the YouTube audience. You know what I had recently that I've never had before? And this is so weird.
What's that?
A McChicken sandwich.
Huh. Me neither.
I think I might have had one like many years ago and was like, this sucks.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. I'll do the chicken sandwich at Burger King or Wendy's, but I don't really like the one at McDonald's. I'll do nuggets. How was it this time? Was it better than you remembered?
I got it because I had enough points for a free thing, and I was like, I don't want a cheeseburger again. Let me try the McChicken since it doesn't cost me anything. And it was like good as hell. I was like, this isn't supposed to be good as hell. This is supposed to be passable at best.
I'll give it another shot. Have you tried the new Arch Burger or Arch Burger or whatever they're calling it?
No, I tend to not do the big fancy specialty crap at fast food joints because most of it's nonsense.
Sometimes I'll try it, sometimes I won't. I'm trying to remember who it was, if it was Chick-fil-A or somebody else, came out with the like Impossible Chicken Sandwich. I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. I believe it's sustainable stuff. And like, you'll never believe it's cauliflower, and I did believe it was in fact cauliflower. But again, points for trying. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was really funny.
Oh, no.
Am I okay?
Real quick,
okay.
You said Phil for a minute. I've been meaning to ask you this. How do you eat an Oreo?
With my face.
That's good.
One bite.
You put a whole Oreo in your mouth?
Yeah.
Dark, how do you eat? Dark, how do you eat an Oreo?
Mike deep throats his Oreos.
He does.
I chew first.
Oh, loser.
I don't. What?
You don't eat Oreos?
No. I'm not really an Oreos person.
Oh.
Okay. I'm sorry. The correct answer is you twist the cookie apart, you eat the dry cookie first to get it out of the way, and then you eat the one that is the delicious filling because the filling is the best part. And every time I tell Carrie this, she wants to murder me because she likes the cookie better than the filling.
Yeah, I like the cookie better too.
Give me your filling.
I don't want like the thin ones that have less filling because that just throws off the balance. I also don't want the thick ones that have more filling because that's just gross.
The double stuff? I love the double stuff.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
But
you know me, I'm not on bottom, but I like the double stuff.
The first part wasn't recorded, so there's no context for that. And you know what? I like it that way.
But you like the balance of the cookie as it is.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll take it apart and do exactly what you said. Actually, no, usually I think I eat the creamy one first and then eat the dry one because I prefer the cookie. But most of the time I just like eat it in usually 2 bites.
Not like a single bite. That would be crazy.
Yeah, who would even do that? I'm glad we had this discussion.
Now I feel better now that we've had this discussion. So.
All right, then. Here we go. Ow, jam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 749 of the Mana Pool. Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to mention this on the Dorks Just Chatting. You can now, on the Mana Pool podcast feed in your podcast listener, whatever they're called, of choice, you can now access the entire archive of the Mana Pool, not just the last 100 episodes. Finally, after all these years. Sorry about that. I'm an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
I finally looked up how to safely disable the feed burner thing, which was cutting edge, all the rage podcast technology when I set the show up 17, 18, however many years ago.
It will be 19 years in November.
Oh God, I was afraid you were gonna say that. But yeah, that limited us to 100 episodes, and I was terrified of screwing it up and everybody losing their subscription. But I finally just looked it up because, hey, did you know? With the internet, you have the sum total of all human knowledge at your fingertips.
Like the publishing dates of random books?
Yeah. Or why fascism is bad.
Mhm.
A lot of people choose not to use the sum total of all human knowledge that they have at their fingertips in their pocket at all times. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I looked it up and followed the steps and panicked because there were clearly some updates since it was written and I had to work it out for myself. But I did. And yeah, so now you can listen to literally anything on the feed that we've ever done. Oh, dear God. So yay.
Remember how we would always say, don't go back and listen to the early episodes?
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
But you can.
Don't go
but
back and
don't.
learn. Yeah, they're there. It was a learning process. We
But
were
you
all
can totally go
in
back and
this-
find, your favorite whatever we did that one time. That thing we did that you really liked, that was more than 100 episodes ago. You can listen to that now without
Yeah.
effort. Sorry about that.
Sweet.
I really am sorry that it took me that long to work it out. I had the idea to fix that, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and couldn't find how to do it safely, and went, okay, I need to look into this. And then life got in the way, whatever, and I just never thought about it until I was looking for new podcasts to listen to. And I found one, and their feed goes back not 18 years, but because they publish multiple episodes a week, it went back longer than ours would. And I said, did I ever fix this? And opened up the Manapool feed and went, what? Scroll, hit the end. And I went, oh, God. It's like, it's only 3 scrolls to get to the end. Oh, no. But anyway, enough of that. We're here to follow up on last week's episode. So I'm Chewy. I played Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch. Is that all? Yeah. And I've got these other dorks. Dorks, what did you play? Who are you and what did you play?
I'm Brian. I'm the lead Rambler Tangent Master
No, what'd
of
you
the
play?
group. And I really got started with Diablo 2, but I definitely got into Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone. Never played Overwatch. What about you, next person with the beard?
I'm Mike, and I started with a little bit of Warcraft, but mostly Diablo, and then for a few years, a lot of Hearthstone.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greatest man.
Ah, what'd you play?
I didn't anyway. I started off playing Warcraft 3. Played. Go away. My kids are coming and stealing my food. Got into Diablo 2, World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, Diablo 3. Those are their games. I played Hearthstone, Overwatch. So yeah, I played a good mix of everything they had.
Yeah, wow.
And Heroes of the Storm, I played that for a little bit too.
There you go. All right. So, on the last episode, 748, which you can totally go listen to hear about all the good stuff, we got all the way up to where? Oh, it's in my notes. Hang on. Whoop, whoop. There we go. We got all the way up to the release of Heroes of the Storm in 2015. So the next big thing after that was Overwatch, which released in 2016. Now, Overwatch was not supposed to be Overwatch, the hero shooter.
Really?
It was originally gonna be another MMO.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know this story.
Oh yeah, it was called Titan, and it was going to be, instead of a fantasy MMO, it was going to be a sci-fi MMO.
Oh,
And
okay.
it just wasn't working.
Oh,
Interesting. I remember seeing like the trailers for Overwatch, which I've never played, but uh, it really kind of made me want to go, I wonder what the story is about this. And then, did the story ever develop during the game, or was it just
During the game, no, but we're not
ah?
there yet. So
Okay.
yeah, they canceled Titan because for one reason or another, things just weren't coming together the way that they wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I actually forgot to.
well, and this is a jump in and everything. Um, with it being MMO, it does kind of sound like an awful idea when you already have an MMO that you've built and it's wildly successful and making you tons of money, for you then to make another one that's going to compete with what you just made.
There is
So I
that.
think
Yeah.
that also was kind of a thing. You're like, we want to do these great ideas and everything. Well, it's not working. And oh, wait a second. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to work. So yeah.
But yeah, the article here about the cancellation of Titan on Wikipedia, there are a variety. Oddly enough, that isn't mentioned that I'm seeing here as to why it was canceled. But they just couldn't get it to come together in a way that had the Blizzard polish that they like. So in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
so way back when Hearthstone came out and Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls, the expansion for Diablo 3 came out, that's when it was canceled. And they were like, all right, you've got, what did they have? Like 6 weeks? Yeah, here it is. They had 6 weeks. Jeff Kaplan and a fraction of the original developers of Titan had 6 weeks to just come up with something, or else they were going to get split off into other departments, and that would be the end of, what is this, Team 4.
Gee, do you think maybe this was a sign that the workplace wasn't entirely healthy? No. I'm
Not at
sure
this
it's
point.
fine.
I don't think so. No, because otherwise it would have just been, you're all being sent off to other development departments. You're done.
That's true. It does just feel like a lot, but that's true.
But they managed to come up with the idea of what we now call a hero shooter, which the only, this might be my ignorance of PC gaming back in the day, but the only like main example of a hero shooter that I can think of is Team Fortress, like before Overwatch, and they all
Yeah.
exploded everywhere. But Team Fortress 2 was like
Uh-huh.
the hero shooter.
Yes.
And so they just made a Team Fortress. And they repurposed a bunch of the assets from Titan and were like, hey, does this work? And the Blizzard higher ups were like, make it work. Do it. You got it. And then they did. And so that was 2014. And then it released in 2016. And it
Did
was pretty awesome.
Did it do well financially?
Oh yeah,
You know,
it was insane. Like it
as with
had.
at that time anything that Blizzard kind of came out with, um, it may not have been like the best thing since sliced bread, but it was almost always successful.
Oh yeah, and let's see sales. A week from its launch, Blizzard reported over 7 million Overwatch players.
7 million.
Blizzard reported more than 10 million players by mid-June.
The answer was yes. It was very successful.
I'm gathering that, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of it was because of the marketing, I think. Like and the Blizzard polish. Like, did we talk about Blizzard polish on the last episode?
I don't
I
think
don't know that we
well, I think
really
we,
went into any
alluded
detail.
to it.
So, because Blizzard had so much money and so much time, and they could take the time, before things take a turn in 2017 and 2018, they could take time to get everything right for their games, and anything that wasn't right, they would immediately patch.
Mhm.
And all of these games that we've talked about have what the community, at least I don't think I made this up. I think this is a community term, the Blizzard polish. Like just little things that don't have to be in the game. Like something that comes to mind is the physics of items, like things sitting on tables in Overwatch. If you run up and you do a melee attack at a table that's got, coffee mugs on it, the coffee mugs will fly away and bounce around and collide with each other and whatnot. And there's no need for that. That adds nothing to the game. There, you don't interact with if they just sat there when you shot them or punched them. Everyone would just go, "Oh, okay," and just not think about it. Or the basketball in the ship before, in the countdown before the match starts. There's a couple of basketballs in the ship, and there's a basketball hoop over there, and you can try to hit the ball with a melee attack and knock it up into the basket. And if it goes in the basket, you get confetti and like a "her" and like a "yay" or whatever. There's no need for that. That adds literally nothing to the mechanics of playing Overwatch as a video game. But it's there, and it's awesome. And every match, someone would line up and be trying to line up the shot, and some other jerk face would shoot it before they could hit it. And then you would have them running around jumping at each other. That's just how it works. But that's a function of just they had so much money that they could afford to take the time to program these things in and just give everything a spit shine, And Overwatch continued that. But Overwatch's marketing was all about the story. You had all of these colorful characters, and there's virtually no story in the game. Like, the game itself playing the video game itself happens outside of canon.
It really is fascinating because there was like I don't know if it was 10 minutes or there's a long trailer with the ape kind of being like, do I reactivate the team? And then he's assaulted and then he starts activating it and Tracer is like, hey, Monkey Man, are we active again? And then they had like 5 or 6 other trailers.
Oh yeah, the animated shorts were huge and they were so well done. I'm talking
when I went to
makes Pixar look like a bunch of chumps. Like
when I went to Video Games Live last year, one of the songs that the orchestra performed was from the who's the walking turret guy?
Bastion.
The machine. Yeah. The Bastion trailer. And people were like going nuts. And it was really well done. But just an interesting choice. I guess I'm don't generally play a whole lot of the hero shooter, so I'm not judging exactly. It's just interesting to me that they didn't have like a campaign mode or something.
Yeah, no, it is. It was at launch. It is only PvP. You're on a team with other people, and you're fighting against a team of other people, and that's it. There's
I mean, I think the
Sometimes,
tutorial was one where you were like helping a sled get to the other end or something like that.
or a
But
payload.
I don't
do what?
even I don't even remember the tutorial anymore.
Yeah, I think there was a tutorial where you did it solo, and then after that, it was all right. You get to play with other players now. Good
Oh
luck.
yeah, there was the bot match tutorial thing. Yeah, you're right. There was the tutorial like that taught you how to move and jump and shoot with one of the characters in the training ground. And then there was the bot match where you're moving a payload with the with bots. And then then it turns you loose. It's like, all right, go play with people. Hurry up. And it was really good. Like we had a crew. Like it was me and Bill and Gothic and Finn and Haley and Steph, and occasionally a few other people would jump in. Like Overwatch was what 6v6 the first one, yeah.
I jump in occasionally.
Oh yeah, and we would mostly me and Bill and Gothic were the core team though, and we would just go shoot people, and it was great. And we did this for a very long time. And eventually they would release some like PvE, player versus environment stuff, little that were story based. Explaining. Let's see, I think there were 3 or 4 of them, explaining some of the history of the team and whatnot. One, you were the Blackwatch team, and you were on the mission that caused a major problem in the storyline. And then there was one where you were the Overwatch team proper trying to stop a riot or something of the robot people. I don't remember now. Doesn't matter. We loved the PvE stuff though. It was great. But the marketing, like I said, was all about these animated shorts that were super high quality and just gave you hints of story and fleshed out who the characters were, because that's the only way to get story. You can go right now to the Overwatch or the Blizzard, I can't remember, YouTube channel, and find the playlist of all of these animated shorts. And you should totally watch them. They're amazing. And it doesn't matter if you play the game or not. Like, because you get more story from these than you will if you spend 1 billion hours at the game.
Well, I want to say that I think it was Overwatch 2 or 1, which is where Void Sector is attacking, and they have the giant mech thing, and they're like, I don't know if everyone's going to come and everything, and they have the, Winston's about to sacrifice himself, and then the team does reassemble, and it's just, that was hands down the best cinematic I have seen in a long time, because you feel like, okay, he's gonna, this is gonna be his last stand, so he can protect his friends, and then everyone shows up and helps save the day. It was a beautiful cinematic.
Very much vibes of the on your left from
In game.
So yeah, we played a lot of Overwatch back in the day, but Overwatch had some issues like loot boxes, which
Was it all cosmetic, or was there functional stuff in there too?
oh no, it is all cosmetic.
Okay.
Which is how we told ourselves that it was okay. Because it's not like all the characters are just available because you buy the game. It wasn't a free to play game. It was what, $30-$40 I think at launch, something like that.
Yeah.
Bought
And
the
it
game and the
was-
characters. What about characters that came out later?
Yeah, they're just there.
Yeah.
Sweet.
You just automatically got them.
Yeah, there was no Heroes of the Storm unlocking characters or buying anything. It was all just skins. Skins were the main thing. Skins and poses. Skins. What's the word? Emotes. Skins and emotes. And look,
then
that still works
there
today.
were sprays and other stuff too.
Yeah, but no one cared about any of that. The skins and the emotes were the important ones. And yeah, that still works. Like, look at how Fortnite makes its money. Oh, with skins and emotes. Huh, weird. Although you can buy those directly. In Overwatch, it was loot boxes, and you would get loot boxes by playing. And eventually you would get duplicate stuff, and that would turn into currency that you could use to craft other stuff. But you got it at such a ridiculously sad rate that it didn't, and it took forever to add up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the same thing with Hearthstone, with crafting cards. It was the same thing with Heroes of the Storm. And if you were patient, and you could be free to play and get all, as long as you were at least successful enough to complete the daily quests, you could get there. The longer you were in the game, the better, because you've had more time to play. Therefore, you've built up this currency for longer. But
Yeah. And Overwatch did that too, but there was also a little store button that let you buy loot boxes. Of
yeah.
course. 2 loot
Of course.
boxes is $3 or whatever, but you get, it's less dollars per loot box if you buy the pack of 50 or whatever.
Sure. Package
But
deal.
they were random, so if you were hunting for a skin, you almost never got it because you got skins for this person or this for that, and it's like opening a pack of magic cards hoping you're gonna get the chase card.
Exactly.
It is, yeah. Magic booster packs were the world's first loot box. Well, there have been others, but they are a prime example of a commercially distributed loot box.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But by and large, Overwatch was a huge smash hit. Whenever there were issues, they would pretty much nip it in the bud. They were good about updating things. There was the Overwatch League, which was the professional teams, which was ridiculous to watch. Because
Was Overwatch... Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if anyone knows this, but playing a video game and playing a video game at a professional level are 2 entirely different games.
Oh, yeah. I think sometimes people enjoy the video game and they're like, I think I could do this professionally. And, I mean, I'm not here to crush anybody's dream, but it is a different skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it is a lot of practice. But anyway.
Yeah, I had a student who he wanted to, he had done a little bit and not like pro, but he played a bunch of stuff. And he's like, yeah, a lot of people, they only get to play for like 2 or 3 years and then they have to retire. And it's
Or get
because
burned out.
their wrists develop carpal tunnel.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
they literally cannot stay for more than like 2 or 3 years because of the issue.
But I guess this is a question. I was going to ask. And I didn't want to cut off Chewy. Esports. Esports are this fascinating phenomenon, and I know there's been discussions about are esports sports? What is the definition of a sport? Anything like that? And I'm not here to suggest the answer, but are there previous Blizzard games that were considered esports
Yes.
Yeah,
before Overwatch?
Warcraft,
StarCraft?
StarCraft, yeah.
Yeah, StarCraft
StarCraft.
is the Overwatch, the esport.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that might be the case, but I just wanted to open it up. So the answer is Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're. I don't know about the Warcraft games, but I know that StarCraft had a huge esports thing, and still does. Heroes of the Storm had a professional league for a while. They were fun to watch.
Would you consider Hearthstone an esport?
I mean, I wouldn't, but there have been lots of. Yeah, Hearthstone is as much an esport as Magic is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Specifically Magic Arena, maybe. So.
Oh, I mean, not even specifically Magic Arena, just Magic.
Just Magic.
Yeah, they're just a niche kind of esport. Because most people are going to watch like first-person shooters kind of stuff.
Yeah, something that's strictly turn-based doesn't really feel sporty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's kind of like poker. Do you consider poker to be a sport?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So in that case, yes, Heroes of the Storm would be considered an esport.
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone, sorry.
Yeah. You guys remember all those years ago that kid whose family was coming through and he like organized us to like get together and meet at Lucky's and play with him?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Ryan?
Yeah.
Well, he is like out of college and graduated now, if you want to feel old, and married.
Oh boy.
But he was on his university's Overwatch esports team, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing some updates on Facebook here and there.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Anyway. So yeah, their first new IP since what? Nope, not Hearthstone. Nope, not Heroes of the Storm.
StarCraft.
Yeah, was StarCraft their most recent?
Or no. Hearthstone.
Well, that's not a new IP. That's using the Warcraft IP.
Okay, then yeah, StarCraft would have been.
Wow. So their first new IP in 20 years. And ridiculous smash hit, knocked it out of the park, making money hand over fist, blah blah blah.
Maybe Train will go on forever.
Right? It even got my ass in there to play.
Mm-hmm.
So then, the next big thing that came out that I have listed in 2017. Well, in 2017, we also got another Diablo 3 expansion, Rise of the Necromancer. So that's neat. And then things... Well, no, this isn't quite where things took a turn. They did StarCraft Remastered.
I think I heard about that, and I think I heard good things about that. It didn't seem like a complete sellout.
It's not bad. You're playing the original game. Is just that the if you had played it, the old school version of it, because of the way monitors are now and everything, the graphics were just awful. By remastering it, it allows the graphics to actually adjust to the better screens and everything. So it makes the game, it looks like it did back in the day, but it's adjusted for, it actually like fits the screens now. So as before, where it would have caused the screen to have done where it wonkified the screen size and all that other stuff. Like, yeah, it doesn't do that.
And it also updated to use Blizzard's like modern matchmaking stuff that they had developed since StarCraft. So, yeah, it was by and large generally favorable. And then this is where things take a turn. So, in 2018, Oh God! In 2018, uh, Mike Morhaime, one of the founders, and the devil himself, Bobby Kotick, who is the head of Activision, now Activision Blizzard, the CEO,
Yeah.
were butting heads. And eventually Morhaime was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm out. And he left. He would remain as an advisor, but sure, whatever. And actually, I'm sorry, it was in 2019 that he announced in 2018 he was leaving. He finally actually left in 2019, and J. Allen Brack, the executive producer of World of Warcraft, stepped up as the new head. And yeah, but Bobby Kotick was now in charge fully because Morhaime, I think, was his only opposition. And like in February of 2019, there was a company-wide layoff of 8% of Activision Blizzard staff, 800 total positions, due to lower revenues in 2018. Even though that same year, I'm pretty sure he gave himself like a $50 million bonus. There was some year where there was a massive layoff due to lower revenues, and he got himself a $50 million bonus. So, if it wasn't this one, there were several of these massive layoffs over the coming years. But yeah, this is where bad stuff starts to happen.
Yep.
And
2018
every company has its ups and downs, but it only gets worse. You were gonna say?
Some of the one thing that also came out that also kind of showed how bad things were going to get is Warcraft 3 Reforged was announced during in 2018. And there was a lot of hype that this was going to be great, that we're going to see Warcraft 3 kind of updated.
Well, yeah, StarCraft Remastered was good.
It was.
So surely Warcraft 3 Reforged will be good.
Yeah, and everyone was hyped about it. And the one thing was, because they had World of Warcraft and they had all this lore they had been building, they were supposed to go in and update everything so it was in line with the lore. They were going to go in and add all these features, and the big thing was going to be the graphics. They were going to do all of this. There was a trailer where it was like they were doing the scouring of Stratholme, and it looked amazing. We're like, oh my, this is going to be the whole game. This is going to be epic. And then when it launched, it was just like they didn't look like the graphics were updated, but there was a Warcraft style where, the elves were beautiful, the dwarves were like,
rectangles.
Rest Lochner, the wrestler that had no neck.
Yeah.
Who was the big giant wrestler who had no neck? Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar, yeah.
Yeah. So the dwarves were Brock Lesnar, or whatever his face is. But yeah, they're all those. The humans always have like these giant forearms and everything. But when they came out, it was like whoever did the graphics was not Blizzard, because everyone was proportional like they would be in real life from Tolkien. And everyone just like, what is this? And they didn't even take the time to revoice the characters. It's the original voice files, and all they did is they just took what was there and they just up the graphics. So when they
Basically-
were like reforging, like, oh, we're gonna redo this thing. It's gonna be from the ground up and everything. It's gonna be great. No, it wasn't. It's the exact same game with just prettier graphics. And we paid full price for that. And it was so poorly received that Blizzard actually had to give refunds, like full refunds on the game. And I got mine. Like I had the option of doing it. I didn't, but I haven't touched it. Every time I get ready to play it, I play a little bit and I go, yeah, I can't do this. And the problem with it is because it's retroactive going forward, if you cannot play the original Warcraft 3 period. It will always update to these new graphics. So you literally cannot play the original one unless your computer does not touch the internet. And the problem is the only way to play is you have to have those the codes and everything. Mm-hmm. And because of that, you can't play it. Because it has to go and be like, oh yeah, this is authentic. Yeah, you can play this. Because of that, you can't do it.
So the anti-piracy measures are keeping.
So it was so that they would be, you can't play the old stuff with the new stuff. So they said, well, you just won't play the old stuff anymore. You have to play the new stuff. And so yeah, all that stuff went into effect. So you literally cannot play the old game anymore with the old graphics. And that really made people mad as well. And the problem with it is, so, I mean, they released all this stuff, and come to find out the reason why it turned out so bad was Blizzard, under Bobby and everything, they were like, well, no one's going to make money off of this, and they just never funded it. So this team worked for, I think, like 2 or 3 years with bare minimum funding, kind of doing it on theirs as a side gig.
Wow.
And this was the best they could cobble together. So yeah, and I mean, it got super poor reception.
So
like I cannot tell you how bad the reception was over this when it launched.
It had all kinds of terrible bugs. The UI was, I keep seeing the word massive, so I'm guessing the UI wasn't scaled properly and was too big.
Yeah.
Like here's another word that I keep seeing is cumbersome. A cumbersome and massive UI.
I guess it took up too much of the screen.
I guess. Lots of the features Blizzard promised before launch were missing, like updated cutscenes and re-recorded voiceovers. Yeah, they showed trailers of like what a new cutscene was going to look like, and then the game came out and it was the old cutscenes, and everybody said, "Hey, what?" And Dirk mentioned the lack of new voiceovers. The clans system was just gone. The ladder system was gone. And it completely replaced the original. Which was, a masterpiece.
Yeah.
They weren't making money off of that. So
I mean, you paid money for it, but the problem is they, as the guy referenced before,
Brock Lesnar?
Jason
Jason Schreier?
Yeah, Jason Schreier. I mean, that was part of his book and everything. Was they were like, yeah, we're going to do all this, and then they just never did paid him, and it was Bobby Kotick is the big reason why. He's the one who said we're not going to make any money off of this, so it was never fully funded.
Yeah, because Bobby Kotick is quite possibly the worst person to be in charge of a video game company, because he doesn't know anything about video games and he doesn't like video games. He just wants money. And I know you can go, well, all companies are just out to make money. Yeah, but he's a dick about it.
Well, and again,
Yeah.
the Blizzard culture before was even if we put millions of dollars into this, if we don't feel like it's our game, like it's got the polish, we're not going to send it. And this was one of those games that did not have any of that to it, and was just like just mud in the face of the community who loved that game, and was like that we feel like we got stabbed in the back over this.
Yeah. So that
That
was
was
in,
20.
that was 2020.
That was
the beginning of
2018.
2020.
Yeah.
The year before that, in 2019, they announced Warcraft Classic, which a lot of people World of Warcraft Classic, and a lot of people who had been playing World of Warcraft back then said, yes, it'll be better. And a lot of people who have been playing World of Warcraft since back then were like, why? It sucked back then.
But the thing was that, again, that's not being discussed here in the at that time was there were people who had developed servers outside of Blizzard to play World of Warcraft, the vanilla version, because at this point you couldn't play vanilla at all. Cataclysm had completely revamped the world, and all the original stuff was gone. So these people wanted to play the original vanilla version because you technically paid for it back in the day, and it's there. It just has this overlay that prevents you from playing it. And these people wanted to play it. And so they developed servers outside of Blizzard, and they had like hundreds of thousands of people playing it. I don't know if they paid for it or not, but hundreds of thousands of people were playing it. Blizzard found out about it, and they sued them, and they had to shut those servers down. And Blizzard got one heck of a pushback from that, which is why Classic came out, because they got so much flack and pushback from shutting down this server that the way they thought, well, we'll turn it into a profit and we'll try and get back into everybody's good grace, is we'll do World of Warcraft Classic, which would be the vanilla version. Because people liked it. The original was hardcore. You had to have a group to do certain things, or else you got spanked. There was no way you could solo some of the original content, unless you just had to be in a group in order to do it. So that's part of 2018 also. 2018 was one heck of a year.
Yeah, should we talk about the big stupid thing that happened at that BlizzCon?
Oh, absolutely.
So BlizzCon is the yearly convention that Blizzard does, where, I mean, it's a convention, but usually it's where they make all their big announcements for the coming year. And it's a huge deal. And in BlizzCon 2018, they announced WoW Classic, and oh my god, and they announced Warcraft 3 Reforged. Little did we suspect what was going to come.
No.
And they announced a new expansion for Hearthstone, Rastakhan's Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And a new hero
was big
for Overwatch.
anticipation. All right, they did this and they did this. That means there's going to be a Diablo one. There's going to be a
We're
Diablo.
not there yet.
It's going to be Diablo 4.
Dirk.
It's going to be Diablo 4.
Dirk, shut up. We're not there yet. There was a new hero for Overwatch.
Oh, sorry.
There was a new hero for Heroes of the Storm, an original hero, not from one of Blizzard's other things. This is the first time they'd done this. They made Orphea. Wow.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they're a small handful, just a couple, I think, of original characters in HOTS. It's pretty neat. Okay, yeah, that's all of that. And there came the big Diablo announcement. And what was it? What was it going to be, Dirk?
I think it was Diablo. It was Diablo 4 is what they were expecting.
It's totally going to be Diablo 4, right? And what they announced instead was Diablo Immortal, made in affiliation with NetEase. And NetEase is a what is net? Hang on. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. NetEase is a big Chinese game development thing. And China and video games have a sort of a thing going on where China doesn't like letting other people's games come in, apparently. So they made a big deal about this new game made in development in affiliation with NetEase so that, you know, they could get some of that massive Chinese lucrative market. And it's called Diablo Immortal. And it was a mobile game. And this crowd, when they announced it, all these announcements are done by people on a stage in front of a massive crowd of people. And they started booing. Because, you know, they wanted Diablo 4. And instead we're getting this, like, thing made in conjunction with China. It's a mobile game? And when they started booing, the guy on stage, who I think was the Diablo like head developer, goes, "What? Don't you guys have phones?" Which led to the booing intensifying.
Oh, it was bad.
I have to admit, that's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Step 1: make a product your clients, your customers don't want. Step 2: insult them for not wanting it.
Exactly.
Step 3: profit?
Yeah. So Warcraft 3 Reforged set the record as the lowest scored like on Metacritic game by Blizzard until Diablo Immortal came out, which was just a cash grab mobile predatory nonsense thing. Like it was bad. And that came out in 2021.
Quick
Along with
question.
I'm sorry, in 2022. And Diablo 2 Resurrected came out in 2021. That was another remake or remaster.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember anything about this.
It's just exactly what you said, just a remaster of Diablo 2.
Okay. So it's more like StarCraft remastered and less like Warcraft Reforged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, favorable reviews. While acknowledging that the gameplay sometimes feels dated, Game Informer said that Diablo 2 remains the standard against which all other action RPGs are judged. So yeah, of course it's dated. It's from, God, when did Diablo 2 come out?
I don't know. We were
2000? Yeah, so of course it's going to be dated.
Yeah.
But you don't buy a remaster of a 2000 game expecting it to be a brand new thing. So that's fine. But, again, let's back up a second. Overwatch came out. Smash hit. StarCraft Remastered came out. Not hated. Bobby Kotick takes over. Warcraft 3 Reforged comes out. Boo. Diablo gets a remake. Diablo 2 gets a remaster. Diablo Immortal, a mobile game designed to separate you from your money. Critically panned. Oh God, Overwatch 2 comes out. Like it's just downhill. It's like all of the creativity and art and dignity just sort of flew away. Like Overwatch 2 was announced and they were like, look, this is going to be crazy. It's going to have an entire like PvE campaign stuff. And Bill and I were excited because that was our favorite stuff in Overwatch 1. And they were like, and it's going to have like a leveling system, and where you can apply perks to your characters to have completely different games with the same character. And oh my god! And then Overwatch 2 came out, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not doing any of that. Actually, it's gonna be free to play. It's only 5v5 instead of 6v6, and yeah, still a bunch of predatory. Like there's a battle pass now, which is better than loot boxes, but that's like saying getting kicked in the face is better than getting kicked in the balls. Like the battle pass, just like loot boxes, exists to give you FOMO, so that you feel like you have to be playing so you can get the stuff that you want before you miss it. Like that's all they are. They're there for is like, you give us money every month and we give you a job every month. It's like World of Warcraft, but it's more stress.
Yeah.
Question. I know that Blizzard is mostly a gaming company. I don't have the webpage up in front of me. I had it last time we did this. When did the Warcraft movie come out?
That happened in 2016. Yep.
Okay, so that happened a couple of years before where we are on the timeline. I didn't see it, but Dirk, you are a big Warcraft fan. How did the movie do, and did it stay true to the source material?
The movie did not do super well. Actually, I don't even know if it was like profitable. In terms of the lore, it vaguely follows it. Like it kind of sort of follows a little bit of the canon lore, except that they changed a bunch of stuff in it, where the leader of it was supposed to be Blackhand was supposed to be a leader, but really in the movie it was Gul'dan was the one really pulling the strings, and Gul'dan turns in from a old frail orc into like Brock Lesnar, except he's like hiding under a cloak, sort of thing. And Garana is supposed to be like, she can be mind controlled by the Shadow Council, and in this she is not controlled. She's like, I have to kill the king because if I don't, I'm gonna be killed, and I'm doing this for the greater good. And instead of being mind controlled, whereas like, no, you were their friend. That like you literally walked up to the king because he was like, you're my friend, and then she stabs him. But in
Brian,
the movie, is like,
you ask the wrong person.
You can do this. I want to protect you because if you don't kill me, they're gonna kill you. And so he does it as a noble sacrifice. And yeah, it did just nothing. It vaguely does, but no. The movie just wasn't all that great.
So this is why you can't ask a fan these questions. Like, as someone who doesn't know the Warcraft lore and doesn't care. That's me. Hi. I saw the movie. I thought it was fine. Like, it's too talky.
Yeah, I saw the movie. I thought it was boring and, like you said, too talky. It feels like it keeps switching back and forth between like a full dozen main characters and their storylines, and I remember it felt like half the scenes were exposition. People standing around telling me about something. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'd much rather watch a movie where stuff happens.
They're trying to establish the lore and everything in a movie where that was always the problem with video games, like games being turned into movies, is a video game has you for 20 hours. A movie has you for an hour and a half. And you're going to try and tell what happened in this 20-hour game in an hour and 20 minutes? No. Yeah. That's always why they never work.
Well,
and this one really just didn't work.
The problem with that is that people shouldn't be trying to adapt 20-hour games into a 90-minute movie. That's just the wrong place to start, the wrong way to go about doing it. And this movie did not seem to understand that. because it really was. And then you had like Ben Foster, who's playing Medivh, who is obviously the bad guy. Look at him. He's the bad guy. And then at the end, when you're like, oh my God, he was the bad guy. Like, did you see him during this movie? He had I'm the bad guy tattooed on his forehead. Ben Foster. But it's like, this movie needed to do really well. It did crap in the US. Like, in the rest of the world, it like, wait, where was the box office? It only made 47 million here in the States, but it made 392 million in the rest of the world. But like, that still was short of what it needed in order to roughly break even. So it didn't. No, that's why there hasn't been a second Warcraft movie. And do you guys remember way back when we had Alex Shaw from School of Movies on, and when we were talking about, you know, a Magic movie, and he said it's going to depend on how the Warcraft movie does, and then it tanked. But yeah, the CGI was impressive.
It was. The CGI was great.
It looked really pretty.
Yeah, it was very good.
But when there weren't, you know, orcs throwing magic at each other, it was just boring. So, yeah. Oh, look, we have a bot in the chat. Deleted. Okay. I wonder I wonder how much Blizzard actually had to do with this.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, financially. Like, did this movie failing hurt Blizzard in any way? I don't know. Hey, look, Dark resubbed. You're not a bot.
No, I'm not.
Because, you know, this was what, 2016? I'm sure it failing didn't help Blizzard financially, but I don't know the damage that it did to the company, if any.
I guess it depends on how much of their own money they put up for it.
Yeah, and I'm not finding that
other
here.
Investors.
Oh well. But that's that's that. Freaking, with better writers, that movie could have killed.
Mm-hmm.
But they put the money into making it pretty instead of making it good, and they did exactly what they wanted. It was very pretty. Huh. So let's see. Also in let's see here. Yeah, here it is. Also in 2019, and I was around for this. Like, I was playing Hearthstone during the Hearthstone Grandmasters event. Oh, Mike knows what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
This was during the Hong Kong protests. And the player Blitzchung won a match, and during his interview decided he would talk about, you know, show support to the protesters. And then he got a 1-year ban and forfeited his winnings. And the internet exploded. Because that was ridiculously, like, the punishment on that did not fit the crime. Now, at the time, I was sort of half-heartedly defending this because everybody, the casters, the players, everyone is under very strict guidelines for how to act and what they can and can't say.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name? Firebat, the first Hearthstone world champion, Firebat. He would regularly get dinged, like get fines and whatnot for saying things during interviews and streams and whatnot, like that weren't cool. You know, he had a coffee mug that had some sort of company's logo on it, and he picked it up and took a drink once during an interview. Mm-hmm. And nope, you can't show that on screen. Ding. So like, Blitzchung knew there would be consequences, because he knew this was not allowed. But getting the 1-year ban and forfeiting his winnings, no, that's insane. And the two guys who interviewed him, I can't remember who they were, and it doesn't say in the article here, they also got hit with like some sort of, I don't think it was a year ban, but
yeah. I mean, they knew, didn't they hide under their desk in a panic because they knew it was going to be bad?
They ducked off camera because they were like, "Oh God, this is going to be bad."
But they were just. He said it during an interview.
So
okay.
Yeah, the internet exploded. Blizzard eventually knocked it down to I think a 6-month ban. Oh, and the casters did get a year ban. The casters bans got knocked back to 6 months. J. Allen Brack, you know, the new president, said that our relationships in China, the big controversy about this was everyone, because of like the NetEase thing, there had been lots of Blizzard kowtowing to China because that's a big market and Bobby Kotick likes money. And the big like community outrage, there we go, was that because what he said specifically was bad for China, that Blizzard dropped the hammer on him hard. And in this case, I believe J. Allen Brack when he says this has nothing to do with our connections to China. I always believed that. And I was around for this. Remember, I was watching all this happen. But some people swear up and down that like China as a country rose up and threatened to smite Blizzard if they didn't ban this guy for a year. What?
I don't know. You remember that clip of John Cena's recording an apology in Mandarin for acknowledging Taiwan?
Yep.
I know. But
yeah.
Again, that's almost certainly the same idea. That's Vince McMahon going, "Hey, we need that China money."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet, sweet China money.
But yeah, I'm not saying that it didn't have like no effect, but I don't think that they did the harsh penalty because it was China. Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think the harsh penalty would have happened regardless because that's just what they did to the Grandmasters, especially. I could be way off base, but and misremembering things, but I like I said, I was around back then. I would regularly watch. I didn't watch Firebat streams, but I would regularly watch Firebat's like YouTube videos, and this sort of thing would come up. And he'd be like, "Yeah, I took another ding for like that coffee mug. I got to get a new coffee mug." I was like, "Jesus Christ." So yeah, like all of these things, the public opinion was turning against Blizzard.
Uh-huh.
And then
they weren't infallible anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's because, you know, when Morheim left and Bobby Kotick was in charge, everybody went, "Oh no," and then everyone's worst fears were being proven to be true over and over and over. And then in 2021, the big lawsuit hit. The California Department of Fair Employment and Housing versus Activision Blizzard. Where the lawsuit was about sexual misconduct towards female employees and the frat boy culture in the company. You know, discriminatory hiring and employment practices, this and that and the other. And yeah, this blew up way, way bigger than I think Blizzard ever wanted it to.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is where the the Cosby Suite became a thing. So for anyone that doesn't know, Bill Cosby, formerly one of my childhood heroes,
sure, mine too,
legend of stand-up comedy, is a rapist piece of crap.
Yes.
Yeah.
And contrary to what his attorney said, he was not exonerated. He was let off on a technicality because the prosecutors are morons. Because that's for neither here nor there. But he was known for drugging women's drinks and then, you know, doing things to them. This was a thing that was known at this point. And yeah, at BlizzCon 2013, they named the block of employee hotel rooms the Cosby Suite. You know, because it's funny to joke about sexual assault.
Mm.
Apparently. And yeah, the employee Jesse McCree, who that name might sound familiar to some of you, was one of the employees who was let go because of all this. And he was named, like, there's a character in Overwatch named for this guy. And eventually the people, the developers, not like the higher ups, this was another thing, happened a little while later. McCree in the game, Jesse McCree, was renamed to Cole Cassidy. And I have an inside source. I have a buddy who works for Blizzard on the Overwatch team. And when this rename happened, they were like, oh, this is just Blizzard, Kotick and the Blizzard higher-ups trying to do PR. And he informed me that no, this was the Overwatch team going, we don't want this piece of crap name in our game. Let's change it. And they took it to the higher-ups and were like, we're going to change the name. So this was not
that's nice.
Blizzard PR. This was the people who actually make the game going, damn it, this sucks. We got to fix this.
Yeah. And the employees actually had a walkout to show solidarity with the victims and everyone who was harmed by this. So that, I mean, they themselves were done with this. They were, you know, sick of the culture that had been going on in that. One of my favorites is the cube crawls. That was another fun one that came out of this too.
There's a cube crawl.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
So alcohol was very common in people's cubicles at the time, and
like
occasionally
but
the management allegedly allowed and encouraged cube crawls where male employees went from cubicle to cubicle drinking heavily and making inappropriate advances towards and physically touching female employees.
Oh, that's nice. Isn't that nice? Yeah, it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't know what to say to that except what the actual hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I will say that this company was founded by a handful of dudes fresh out of college. So like back in the day, this is the sort of thing that I hate to say it, but you kind of expect from a bunch of college tech bros right out of college. I don't like that, but this is like 20 some years later, and we're a big
Yeah.
multinational company now. Someone needs to have stopped all this crap way before this.
Yes.
But that takes effort, and that takes away from making all the money. So they just never did.
Well,
To
Who
it.
did it hurt? And
there was a lot in this, and I don't know how deep you guys want to go into it.
I mean, not much deeper, I don't think.
Okay.
There was a wrongful
It's
death
just-
lawsuit because of a former employee who took her own life. Like it keeps. The more you read, the worse it gets.
Yup.
That's the wrong direction.
Right?
Yes.
And then there was the case of people being, unless you were willing to put in, like, new people were told that you had to stay late and do all this work and everything, and if you didn't, then you weren't put on, you know, projects that you wanted to get on, or they essentially just saddled you with more work because they just tried to get you fired. There was a lot of quid pro quos involved in this. I mean, it was just. And then there was a question of how much Bobby Kotick knew about it, how much he was just like, well, just stop talking about it. It'll be fine, sort of stuff. I mean, it was a lot. I mean, as you, like was said, the more you read, the more you go, holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah. In 2021, shareholders demanded that Bobby Kotick resign. But, you know, he didn't. So, yeah, it's rough. And, you know, what with Warcraft Reforged being crap and the Blitzchung thing and the hiccups and Diablo Immortal.
And also, in terms of World of Warcraft, 2020 is when Shadowlands came out, which everyone was hyped for and started off strong, and then really quickly went down the toilet. Shadowlands is the one that the expansion that it's the reason why I quit. Like, I quit WoW because of
Really?
Shadowlands.
So what happened with Shadowlands? I don't know any of this.
So in 16, Legion came out. And Legion is essentially the gold standard that WoW expansions were on, and it's because you had this thing called shared power, where you were given this amazing piece of equipment that's your legendary weapon. And you were allowed to upgrade this thing, which made you more powerful and allowed you to do all this great stuff. But at the end of the expansion, your artifact power had to be drained of its power in order to help save the world. Well, the next expansion, Battle for Azeroth, you got this new shared power item called the Heart of Azeroth, which allowed you to, it could be upgraded as you do, and you collect all this stuff and everything. But the system it used was like a more off the shelf version of what Legion did. And then they try to do it again in Shadowlands with a shared power system with the covenants and everything. But the problem is it's like they took the lessons from the previous two games and just said, we're going to make you want to do all of that at the same time. And it just became such a mess of competing mechanics that all were vying for your attention, along with it required too much. And to me, it became a job. Like I would get home, get on, and again, I've got a family. This is 2020. You know, the everything's going on COVID wise and everything, and I want to play, but it's another job. In addition to me having a job and a family, and I was just I don't. This is not fun. It's I have to get on. I have to do this stuff in order to keep doing what I want to do, in order to do what I want to do, and it was just too much, and I quit. There was just a day where I was playing. I'm like I'm just this is not fun. So, and I was gone for I think 3 years. I think I quit for 3 years before I picked up WoW again. That's how bad it was. And that's the same. That was essentially what everyone said was. I mean, some people stuck with it because they did try to fix some of it, but it's like we're going to release this game. It's going to be bad, and then we're going to try and fix it with the patches, with what you guys are complaining about. And Shadowlands is just that example of it. Like it was just a really crappy game as you played into it. 6 months in, the number people were just bailing ship left and right, including me.
Wasn't this around the time that Final Fantasy XIV reworked itself and became an actual threat?
Probably. It's yeah. 14 was just awful, but they realized it, and so they relaunched it. And yeah, Final Fantasy 14. I mean that was I played a little bit of that, and it's fun. But I'd been playing WoW for so long, it's hard to switch over to a new system because of that. I'm sure if I'd played for a couple years, I would have been like, I will never go back to it. I'm always going to be a Final Fantasy person. But it was just something new that I just didn't have the time to put into it.
And I think this was around the time that I stopped as well. I'm looking at Hearthstone expansions. The last one that I remember was United in Stormwind, and that was August 2021. The one after that is called Fractured in Alterac Valley, and that does not ring a bell at all.
Yeah, I think when the Blizzard stuff came out with regards to the lawsuit, I'm pretty sure that's about the time a whole bunch of I know you probably left around that time because you're like, I just do not want to support a company that was encouraging this behavior.
Yeah. And I was playing a lot of Blizzard stuff. Like, I was neck deep in Hearthstone. I was playing Heroes of the Storm with Gothic all the time. I was playing Overwatch all the time. And I had already started to get sick of Overwatch, I think, at that point, and that made it easy to walk away. And Hearthstone, I realized I'm not having any fun with this. I'm just playing it because I play it. And so, yeah, I dropped everything.
Yep. So I think they had essentially like everyone had just realized that we were being bled dry by the at that time because of Bobby Kotick. It was just, and again the poor decisions that were being made by the company kind of essentially like it was the nail in the coffin that just made us like, oh man, I just don't want to support this. And so we started dropping the games. I moved and started playing Steam stuff, and I didn't play Blizzard stuff for a while.
Yeah. I don't know what that sentence was going to be. So also in 2021, speaking of Overwatch, Jeff Kaplan, who had been with Blizzard for 19 years, who was the guy for Overwatch. You know how Mark Rosewater is the guy for Magic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kaplan was the guy. Like he was the head developer, the director, I guess is the word. And in 2021, he just left before Overwatch 2 came out. And I remember Bill and I thinking, I bet the push for money was so much that he went, you know what, screw this, I'm out. And just so we recorded the last episode on March 12th. And on March 12th, an interview came out that he did with who did he do this interview with? Lex Friedman. I don't know who that is, but it's like a hour and a half, 2 hour long interview on YouTube. But there's a Kotaku article here that explains it. He told in this interview, he told us why he left. Oh yeah, the Overwatch League shut down in 2023. We're not there yet. But what ultimately broke me and my Blizzard career was I got called into the CFO's office, and he sits me down and he gives me a date, which at the time was 2020. And it was going to slip to 2021, but at the time it was 2020. And he said, Overwatch has to make this much money in 2020. Then every year after that, it needs a recurring revenue of this much money. Those were bleeped because of non-disclosure agreements. And then he says to me, if it doesn't do this much money, we're going to lay off 1,000 people, and that's going to be on you.
Wow. The
Kaplan
entire
said,
company's success or failure is your fault.
Yeah, Kaplan said, that was the biggest FU moment I've had in my career, and it felt surreal to be in that condition. Now, he doesn't mention who it was, but the CFO at the time he's talking about was Dennis Durkin, who, when I read that name, it conjured up memories of also, like, oh, screw that guy. So, But, although former Blizzard president Mike Ybarra said Durkin was not the executive Kaplan was referring to, so who even knows? But yeah, the CFO was like, dude, your game has to make stupid amounts of money this year and every year going forward, or else I'm going to fire 1,000 people and it's your fault. And I think that's the point where I would have had to resist the urge to punch him in the throat. Just me personally. But I also have never worked anywhere for 19 years other than here. So but how do you treat Overwatch made so much money. How can you say that to the guy who was behind it? Just, nope, we want even more money out of you. Hurry up. Do it. So
Apparently, just by saying it that way, I guess.
Yeah. And that's capitalism for you. Capitalism will, in fact, kill us all. So let's see here. We're up to 2021. In 2022, Overwatch 2 came out. It was free to play. It was still predatory. It didn't have any of the stuff they said it would, and everyone sort of didn't like it. In 2023, the Overwatch League folded because it wasn't making stupid amounts of money for Blizzard, so they just shut it down. Mm-hmm. I don't remember how they shut it down. I know that the Heroes of the Storm professional league, they just made an announcement. They were like, by the way, the Heroes of the Storm professional, whatever it was called, just won't be coming back. And that was how the players found out. They didn't get told ahead of time. They found out the same as the general public, that they didn't have jobs anymore.
Yeah, I had heard about that.
Yeah. So it was bad. And then Diablo 4 came out, and oh dear God. Diablo 4, the thing that everyone had been waiting for years. Of course, it still made them stupid amounts of money, but it was it had this underlying like greed in it.
Yeah.
I can't. Mike, do you remember the specifics? Because I don't.
Well, oh, I think I'm about to mix things up. I think I'm about to start mixing things up. It had to do with the always online feature. I think I'm remembering something about Diablo 3.
Yeah.
You should go ahead.
I'm trying to find it. This was the thing that I had this open for the previous episode, but that was 2 weeks ago now. It had something to do with like the loot system and grinding, or you could just give them money.
Like the loot box or the no, it was the auction house was the third one.
Yeah.
Oh no, I feel this is wonderful. Oh, the ungodly price of enchanting makes it borderline unusable. Hope you have millions and millions of gold. You're gonna need it. And there's no loot filter. Oh god. Like in your inventory. I can't find...
One of the problems was the graphics. It says users of the open beta having reported issues playing on the NVIDIA 3080 graphics card with that result in game running poorly and frequently overheating and crashing.
It's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
So I think I remember that being an issue. There was an overheating issue at one point, but it had some issues to go with it.
This is only 10 months ago. That doesn't help. Wow, there are still people complaining about the monetization in Diablo 4. Like I just went to a Reddit thread from 10 months ago. Aggressive monetization is killing it. Here's one from November of just last year. Monetization is ridiculous. Diablo, a franchise lost to monetization and crossovers. This is from May of last year. What the hell? When did this come out again?
23.
Okay, here's a post from 2023. Here we go. Oh no, this is a Steam forum discussion. Oh god, this will never find you anything. I wish I could find the thing I had open before. Excuse me. I distinctly remember like the complaints that you had to grind, sort of like the Battlefront 2 thing. You had to grind for a stupidly long amount of time, or just give them money. And here's an article from 2022 that says Diablo 4 monetization explained. No pay to win. Oh well. It made them stupid amounts of money because Diablo players... Mike, you bought Diablo 4, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, somebody else that was a big Diablo player did, and I expressed, what's the word? Disappointment. I thought it was you because when I think of Diablo players, you're the one that comes to mind.
No,
I don't. You're
my
best Diablo player friend.
Yeah.
I have not played past 3, so I don't think I even played the expansion for 3.
My laptop can't do 4, that's why I didn't bother.
But yeah, Blizzard announced Diablo 4 became the fastest selling game in Blizzard Entertainment's history. It generated, oh, this is funny, 666 million in revenue the first 5 days after launch. But I really think that's more because of like nostalgia and hype of people who are like, I'm getting it, and because their reviews have just been okay. And as I found out from doing searches, it still has horribly aggressive monetization.
Not better.
Let's see, what else is on my list here? Oh yeah, and then in 2024, Warcraft 1 and 2 Remastered came out, which I had never even heard of.
Yep. I haven't played them.
And there's no link on Wikipedia. There's no article. Warcraft Remastered. Are these any good?
I mean, they're sort of like StarCraft Remastered, that the old graphics are there, but they've been redone so that way they actually fit on the screens. They still do all the stuff you did before. It's looks a lot like Command and Conquer, like that sort of thing. Besides classic gameplay, modern controls. So yeah.
Huh. Apparently, they're missing a lot of features that are necessary for online play. But that seems to be the case. They make a new thing and it's missing a bunch of stuff and everybody complains and then they buy it and play it anyway. Because Blizzard was so big and so good for so long that some people just can't let it go. I'm not saying if you're continuing to give Blizzard money that you're not a good person. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in 2021, if you knowingly kept giving them money after the lawsuit and all came out, maybe you're not as good a person as you thought. Is that harsh?
Yeah.
That seems like it might be a little harsh.
Looking back on everything we've talked about this episode and last episode, they really did have a really unique approach with these games. Warcraft, Starcraft, other games that don't end in craft, but
Overwatch
Diablo, Overwatch craft, yes. They've made some really fascinating stuff. Again, taking it all the way back to like the Lost Vikings and some of that. And I think these games have meant a lot to just millions of people. That you start hearing about some of this stuff, you're like, well, lawsuit can be filed. That doesn't mean the stuff they say is true. But it turns out, yeah, that really was problematic behavior. And then the games themselves, if we're not that we should ever set aside the human aspect of this and like, crunch time and all that sort of stuff. But the games themselves, you made a point of saying Overwatch had the first original IP
StarCraft
characters since like, what did you say? Like
in 20.
StarCraft.
What? No. When was StarCraft? 98.
Yeah. So, and hey, Nintendo wheels out Mario like twice a year, and he's still at it, and people still love it. So you can't. Not saying they can't continue to use the characters that they've already built, the IP they've already built, but
and they were doing different things with them. Hearthstone uses the Warcraft IP, but it's a whole other animal.
Yeah. They have yet to make a golf simulator Horde versus Alliance. So they have not reached the bottom of the barrel yet.
Diablo Poker.
Gul'dan plays tennis. With with a man's skull.
Well, those big ass
But-
spines coming out of his back get in the way of his backhand, do you think?
Or do you play with his skull?
Ah. Oh my god.
See, now I just want to see like an online course being taught by Illidan, and he just opens up every class saying the same thing. And hopefully by the end of the class, you are in fact prepared. But hopefully.
I think I mentioned this briefly last episode. On Second Wind, God, who was it? The guy that does Design Delve on the Second Wind YouTube channel. What is it? JM8. Okay, but what's his name? Oh well. He did a video about going into Hearthstone for the first time in, years and years, and looking at just the UI. And he's like, it's a nightmare. Like, you guys remember it had the Hearthstone, like, box. And you had the 4 buttons. And over the course of years, they would change, what the buttons do to accommodate the more game modes and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now there's so much just bloat. They've never overhauled it. It's still the box.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also thrown in a bunch of, hey, buy the battle pass reminders everywhere. And it's just, if you're a new player, it's going to be a nightmare. Like, because they've never gone back in from the ground up and reworked it. And it's still accommodating for people playing on tablets. On the PC version. Like, everybody still sees the same thing. And it's just a UI nightmare. I wish I could remember the specifics. I'll drop a link to that video in the show notes. Yeah, here it is. The horrendous user interface of Hearthstone. No, don't play the video. Stop. I just wanted the link. Yeah, there we go. No, don't play the video again. Okay, I've got the link. There we go. I'll drop that in the
Show notes.
In the show notes. But so we've got Hearthstone, Battlegrounds, Arena, and then modes. Which, I hate to point this out, but Battlegrounds and Arena are both modes.
Yeah.
And then there's a little thing...
was gonna say it, but
yeah. And then there's a little banner hanging over the top that says Cataclysm pre-purchase. Because, pre-purchase. On the deck selection screen, you have to know that you have to click this little button up here that doesn't look like a button and doesn't have any sort of text on it to know that's how you switch.
Did I roll on your tail? I'm sorry.
From what?
Sorry.
You okay? Oh, were you talking to a kid?
I rolled over the dog's tail.
Oh no!
Oh! Kids are one thing, but dogs, come on.
Come on, man. But anyway, to know if you're gonna play standard or not, you have to go up here and press this little thing that looks like just a piece of the background. On the let's see, we're going to the collection. I'm skipping ahead here. Yeah, the Battle Pass has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different buttons on the side that aren't labeled. They're just icons. If you get... A thing that always bothered me, if you buy booster packs from old sets and go into the booster pack opening thing, there's nothing to tell you what set these came from. So, like, if I were to open up my Hearthstone account, I've probably got just dozens of free packs from all of the sets that have come out over the years since I stopped. But, like, I wouldn't know what they are because there's no. I just have to know what each pack looks like, or what each set's packs look like to know which set they're from. Which, again, is a minor thing, but, like, if you're a new player, what the hell, man? It's all just poorly thought out. But there's a little thing, hey, pre-order the new set, haha, on like every other page.
Yep.
So yeah, it's all very obnoxious.
Well, I will say that with World of Warcraft, so with the whatever Shadowlands was, with the reformatting of like with everything that went through with the lawsuit and everything, Dragonflight was the next expansion to come out after Shadowlands. Dragonflight was 2022, and it really did kind of feel like that. All the complaints, everything that went on, people like at least the World of Warcraft team listened to what people wanted, and Dragonflight actually was a really good expansion. I played it for a little bit, came back and actually played a little bit, and enjoyed it. The dynamic flying, which used to be dragon riding, but how they rechanged everything. Like they changed the crafting system. They did a whole bunch of new stuff with it, and it was a lot of fun. I only played it I think for maybe like 6 months, and then I was like I jumped off again. But they released another one in 24. That's the War Within, and they announced with the War Within that they were going to do a big giant trilogy where the next 3 expansions were all going to be a continuation of each other. And the first of that trilogy was The War Within. And that turned, from what I've seen from the influencers who've covered it, they were really happy with what happened. And then the newest one that just came out earlier this month was Midnight, and Midnight apparently is just another, as of right now, seems to be doing exactly what everyone wants. It's just continues to fine tune what was there, strip away all the stuff that was just super complicated, get back to the basic stuff, and just make the basic stuff fun. And the one big thing in Midnight that everyone had been wanting since Warlords of Draenor back in 2014 was player housing, and they gave us player housing. I haven't played, so I don't know what. I can't tell you anything about it other than you actually get to put stuff where you want it in the house.
I have seen people say that they just love the new housing thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have also seen morons say that something about having housing quests is woke and gay.
Well,
and I don't know
it's
how that
whatever.
works, and I don't think this person knew how that worked.
That sounds like, and I mean, obviously they're fishing for a response, but especially in this case, it doesn't even sound like they necessarily believe it. It's just, let me just throw out these words to get a response.
Right.
Yeah.
And then one thing after again the whatever that Shadowlands was, Blizzard started putting out a roadmap for World of Warcraft, saying like this is what's happening this year. And so this is when we found out about the remixes, where they released older games but with cosmetic stuff, gear that you could acquire. You could redo the old quests, you could do all this stuff and get all these rewards for replaying old content and so on. Well, we found out about those through the roadmaps, but it really was them staying in communication with everybody and saying, hey, we're not going to have these giant spells where nothing's going to happen. And that's what happened with both Shadowlands and Warlords of Draenor. Is they released the game, and then we went months and months with nothing. No information about a patch or anything. And it's kind of, again, what everyone was getting so mad about is you released a game that had problems, and then you just kind of didn't do anything. You didn't. There's no communication with us about, oh yeah, we hear you, we're gonna fix this. It's just, release this game, shut up and just play. You'll figure it out. So they started releasing a roadmap saying, in this month, that's when the next expansions come, or the next patch is coming out. In this month, we're gonna do this update, and that has done a lot to rebuild the community on the WoW side. And again, focusing on stuff that is working, and just doing little stuff here and there, and trying to allow you to grow your character, as opposed to, we're going to give you this thing and then you're going to lose it at the end of this expansion. Have fun with it. We're taking it away from you. So they got away from that concept, and I think they've done a lot, at least on that end of it. I can't say for the company as a whole if the culture's still there, but I do think that the people there do feel like that they have been able to stand up and say something, and management can do what they want, can whine all they want, but I mean, the people there, based on the protests, do know that they've got that they have ways of making people accountable.
Yeah.
But they're also no longer owned by Bobby Kotick, and that they now have a new overlord.
Well, Kotick wasn't the owner. He was just the CEO.
Yeah, the CEO, sorry.
But yeah, in 2023, so after this lawsuit and all of that, stock prices understandably sort of dropped. And Microsoft jumped in and was like, hey, what if we bought Activision Blizzard? And then they did.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're like, you know what? It's on sale. We're already in this aisle. Disney hasn't purchased it yet. Let's grab it.
Exactly.
Which is why if you go to the Blizzard website, so they had all their IPs, Call of Duty they got from Activision. But if you go under more, you can find Sea of Thieves is there, which is very much a Microsoft made property, and Avowed is there too, which I'm pretty sure was also made by Microsoft.
That's weird. Avowed was Obsidian, publisher, Xbox Game Studios. Yep. So yeah, Bobby Kotick is now out. Thank goodness, because he sucks. Also, he was really good buddies with one Jeffrey Epstein, so
make sure you wiggle that knife a little bit.
Yeah. I was dashing, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and we had talked about, well, let's do Blizzard. And I was like, oh, God, that means we got to talk about Bobby Kotick, who is the devil. That big, rich, white asshole. And I went, rich, white? Oh, no. And I hit a red light, and I grabbed my phone, and I typed in Kotick Epstein and hit search. And there it was. And I was like, oh, come on. I already hated the dude.
Too easy. Yeah.
Like, y'all didn't have to. So yeah, that guy sucks. I hope him and all his money die in pain. I'm just saying. Like, he was the reason that this company who had the impossible dream of everything they touched was gold and well loved and beautiful and amazing and artistic and made money, he's the reason that it fell apart. It's all on Bobby Kotick. As far as all the greed and capitalism goes, all of the discrimination and whatnot from the big lawsuits, that wasn't his fault, but he also didn't fix it while he was there because he wanted more money instead.
Yeah. That predated him, but he did nothing to stop it, change the culture.
Yeah. And apparently he was well aware of it. So but things, like Dirk said, things have been slowly turning around in World of Warcraft, and Overwatch 2 relatively recently decided to drop the 2 and like relaunch as just Overwatch, and is experiencing a bit of a renaissance for some reason. I don't know the specifics because I am trying desperately not to get sucked in, but their recent announcements and roadmaps and whatnot have shown that they're trying to actually make it good again. So that's neat, I guess.
Good. Nothing says they can't, turn it around. It's not like they've gone bankrupt in the meanwhile, so there's always opportunity to be better.
And since Microsoft bought them, they did not fold them into anything else like they would with some small, well, like they have with every other thing they've bought. They haven't just folded them into existing things. Activision Blizzard is its own thing. They're just owned by Microsoft. So that's something.
Although they did, one of the things Microsoft did do, not long after the acquisition, everything, is they let like a stupid number of people go.
Well, yeah,
that I do remember.
They're a video game company in the 2020s, and that's just freaking how it's done these days. All of the big companies regularly have massive layoffs, and everybody goes, "Oh, it sucks," and then they keep buying the games anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played a game by Ubisoft since their whole big sexual assault news came out, and I will not until Yves Guillemot, however you say his name, gets, I don't know, kicked in the balls repeatedly, and until hospitalization. We'll stop there for legal reasons.
A good idea.
But since he's still in charge, or I think his son is still in charge, but that family is still in charge of Ubisoft, so I'm not giving them any money. And I'm not giving Blizzard any money, but that's just because I don't want to play any of their games anymore. Weirdly, I think Microsoft buying them was a good thing, which is not a thing that I think anyone's supposed to say. Like, that's not a sentence you expect to ever hear. But it seems like they've been a positive influence. Or they've removed Bobby Kotick's influence, which is probably more accurate.
Probably.
So, yeah. I apologize if it sounded like I was preaching earlier. I didn't mean to. I have the ability to go, "Oh, they're doing something bad. I'm not giving them money anymore." And a lot of people just don't. And I don't understand it. So I feel smug about it sometimes, but I'm working on it. I'm very sorry.
All growing as people.
I'm seriously like trying to work on that. When I see someone on my Steam's friends list playing an Assassin's Creed, I only roll my eyes to myself. I don't like message them and call them a jerk or something. You know. Assassin's Creed, that's Ubisoft, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It'd be funny if it wasn't.
Yeah.
She was just over there rolling his eyes for no reason. So.
But anyway, yeah. Should we? I guess we're done. That's where Blizzard stands. They were literally the best. Then they had a horrible fall from grace, and now they're just another company. But it sounds like they're trying, maybe.
They've still got
They're
their
trying.
IPs, yeah. And to take it even further back, they didn't start out as a banger. They started out really small and built themselves up, and I think that's great. So
Something
yeah.
bootstraps.
Well, that's a if that actual phrase I think comes from around the Great Depression, and it actually means to try to do something impossible. You actually cannot pick yourself up by your bootstraps. It's physically you can't do it. The expression was meant to signify something you can't do. But certain people in certain political spectrums said, no, that's a great, you should totally try your best all the time, pick yourself up. And, we're not going to be responsible for welfare. So that phrase has become warped. But ever since I learned the true meaning of it, I'm like, yeah.
It's
Like,
amazing how many of those like old sayings are used for the exact opposite of their original intended meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Like the few bad apples. Oh, that's just a bad apple. What do the bad apples do? They spoil the bunch.
They spoil the bunch, yeah.
Curiosity killed the cat. Oh, you better not ask questions. Curiosity killed the cat. Yeah, but satisfaction brought it back. There are like dozens of these sayings. The whole blood is thicker than water. That's used in the opposite way than originally intended. It's crazy how many of these are literally inverted and people don't know it.
Sure, to suit whoever said it. So,
but it's become like the common usage now is the wrong thing.
Yeah. When I say when they pick themselves, or whatever phrase I use, like they didn't start as a bunch of like guys with silver spoons in their mouth. They were college grads that basically went all in on some projects, and it worked out for them. Yeah. And they hit a rough patch, and I'm not excusing the harassment. That's terrible, and that affected real people, including the poor person that is no longer with us. But hopefully this is still a company that can, spring back, and once there's corrections in the company and in the culture, we hope, then maybe they'll put out something that we want to play more of. I don't think I'm ever going back to Hearthstone. Not that I hate it. It just became too much of a job, and I already have a job. So, but maybe something else. So I think
the thing with these live service games.
Yeah. But I think this whole idea was Dirk's idea. So hey, Dirk, excellent topic.
Yeah.
So if the discussion, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna move us along.
Right. Yeah. If we're done with the discussion proper, if there's anything else you want to talk about real quick, I am being summoned to relieve Carrie, who very desperately needs to get some sleep. But was there something else you wanted to say before final thoughts?
I don't. Anybody else?
No.
Nope.
Okay then.
All right.
Can't tell if they're formulating something or just sitting there quietly.
Oh, I thought I guess I didn't say no audibly. No.
Lord.
I thought I heard Mike say no.
How about some final thoughts then for our depressing episode?
For my final thought, two-parter. First of all, I really enjoyed the discussion. I learned a whole lot. Even when I was doing some research for this, I didn't hit nearly everything. And again, it's a gaming company, but how many gaming companies actually have an IP that is resilient enough to have a major motion picture, which sounds like it wasn't terribly successful, but they still got there. So that's pretty remarkable. And then as far as me and my personal life, I told these guys I was doing a jury trial last week, and it had crazy ups and downs. And unfortunately, it did not have a. I'll just say it. I'm not going into the case like any details, but did not have a favorable outcome for my client, even though we thought it would, and their family thought it would, and the DA kind of thought it was going my way, and the clerks and the court reporter, everyone was like, "What?" So just
Hmm.
just hmm. Yeah, it goes to show. I tell every client with a potential jury trial case, like, you don't know what 12 people are going to do. You don't know how this case is going to turn out. And just make sure you're engaged with your attorney should you need one. Just like I know, hopefully most of the people listening will never need an attorney, but you never know, because you might need an attorney for real estate, or to do your end of life estate or whatever. If you have an attorney, listen to your attorney, because that's what they're there for. So, but no, but I will say we got the verdict on Friday, and it was tough, and my heart goes out to my client and their family. I had to turn right around and prepare for more cases this week, so that's kind of it. But I appreciate the people that supported us, and I hope my client continues to explore all of their options going forward. But in any case, hopefully next week will be a little more on the up, and I look forward to talking to these guys again soon. But with that, I'm going to go relieve my very tired wife. You guys have a fantastic evening, or whenever you're listening to this, I hope it finds you well.
Yeah. Night, B.
Good night.
Dirk, what you got?
For my final thought, I am looking forward to the end of the day tomorrow. Because as I told the guys, my spring break starts after tomorrow. Um, Tomorrow is going to be one heck of a day because our school is doing a field day, which is going to be like a really long lunch so people can do activities that are going on around the school. Um, it's also a job fair day where there's going to be, employers, um, some universities are going to be there, and recruiters and all this other stuff. But the thing that's sort of the cherry on top of everything is, um, both semesters, I think that this has got to be a national thing. Everyone is supposed to go through a lockdown. We're supposed to go through a lockdown before spring break, and since it starts tomorrow, we haven't had ours for this
A
spring
lockdown
semester.
drill for those of you who.
Lockdown drill.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me like a lockdown drill, and we haven't had ours. So I suspect that at some point tomorrow, while everything is going on, we're gonna have our lockdown drill.
Hooray for poor planning.
Yeah, we had our fire drill today
But
because we hadn't had that either. And someone was like, "Well, we need to do this because if not, that's really gonna be a bad day tomorrow." Everyone is being off is already kind of crazy because they're ready to go on break. We're ready to go on break. But anyway, tomorrow is the last day before spring break. Hopefully, I'll all come out on the other side alive. And yeah, with that, I'm gonna head on to bed. So have a wonderful night, guys.
rule one, Dirk.
I got to get through it before I can commit to it.
Lord. Well, Beardy Man, how about you? What you got?
Let's see. I'm looking forward to a little trip to the beach that Ashley and I are planning on taking in a few weeks. We haven't been to any beaches around here yet.
Ooh, that's because there aren't any.
To the woods. I mean, I don't mean like down the street. I mean,
Thank goodness,
like
they ain't there, man.
Like we've been to beaches and other places we've gone to. Like when we went to visit some people near Boston, and when we went to visit some people in Washington State. Went to beaches there, but we haven't gone to a beach in North Carolina yet. So finally, in a couple weeks, we're going to take a little trip for a few days, and it'll be really nice. We're both really looking forward to it.
Nice. Which one you going to?
Carolina Beach, if I remember correctly.
Okay, that's down there. Got it. Yeah, it's weird. The way the state is shaped, it's a lot faster to go like south to get to a beach than it is to go straight to the coast.
Yeah, it's weird.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know when our next episode's going to be, because all of a sudden everybody has stuff going. Like I think it won't be next week because I think Dirk's just not here next week, right?
Yeah, and I won't be able to do next week either.
Or it was you. I knew somebody wasn't here next week.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. But I'm still working on getting that special guest on, hopefully for 750, but if not, it'll be, 751. Or maybe 2. I don't know. I can't see the future. Can you? If you can, please tell me we're going to make it out of this. And if you see that we're not, lie to me. Just say, yep, we're going to make it out of this. And I'll go, oh, thank you. And don't feel bad about lying to me. Well, I should thank our lifeguards, because that's a thing that I do on this here podcasty. So let's do this order. Violet in the Lilies, Al, Timu Hellas Haryu, Scuzzo, Michael, Andrew Odie, Jason Kaus, Casey, Jake Jansons, Jason Doan, Kim Ho, and ALK Alters. Yay. And to everyone else, at all the tiers, and everyone listening, and everyone who went and read my my write-up on Steam Games. The Rat Line came out, and I bought it. And since the last episode, I've been playing the hell out of it. Well, not playing the hell out of it, but I've done several cases. And it's so good. I feel so smart, Mike.
Awesome.
I'm a smart. And I've been playing Shinobi Art of Vengeance more. And Balatro and Hades 2 and Hitman. I did the Mia Jovovich elusive target thing. That was a trip.
Cool.
And now Bruce Lee's back. Hi, Bruce Lee. Oh, and on Steam, I picked up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate because it was $3. And it's a roguelike. What kind of game is that? It's a roguelike like Hades, but with Ninja Turtles.
Wow.
And I would have told people about it, but I discovered that it was $3 like 20 minutes before the spring sale ended. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy this real quick." And then I was like, "Oh, I should tell people." And the sale was over, and I went, piss. So sorry about that. But instead of picking different weapons like you do in Hades, you pick a different turtle or other character.
Mm-hmm.
There have been 3 DLC packs that I didn't get that have Casey Jones and Metalhead and Alopex, who is a white wolf, I think, mutant. I don't know. I haven't played it yet. I just picked it up earlier because it was $3, and I was like, you know what? I like Hades. Let's give this a try for $3. Why not? $3 whole bucks, Mike. It wasn't even. It was $2.99. It's not even $3 whole bucks. Although since we're not making pennies anymore, I guess technically it's $3 whole bucks.
Yeah.
Oh well. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm still amazed at how good Shinobi Art of Vengeance is. And apparently when the Villains DLC drops that I think I told you guys about last week, we're also getting a hardcore mode and a bunch of new settings and quality of life updates and whatever. And I was like, ooh.
Awesome.
That drops in like a week. And I'm not going to be done with this game in a week because I don't play it that often. So, I'm excited. I love new stuff in a game that I'm currently playing. Yay. But okay then. With that, we're going to stop. So, this has been the Manapool 749. Do let us know which Blizzard things that you either loved or hated, because I'm curious. I guess now that I'm not actively anti-Blizzard anymore, I can reinstall Battle.net and like actually play StarCraft. Because after I played Halo Wars, I was like, I'm gonna play StarCraft because I've never played StarCraft before. And Blizzard Mike gave me a code for all the StarCraft stuff. And I was like, sweet, I'm gonna play this. And then Blizzard exploded, and I was like, screw Blizzard.
Yeah.
Because I love, good single-player campaigns. And apparently the StarCraft single-player campaigns are actually really good. So, might be a thing I do at some point in the next 6 to 8 years. Too many games, Mike.
I know.
So, yeah. Thank you all. I'm going to stop now. Thank you all so very much for joining us. And, get on the payload. Get on the damn payload. God.